That makes sense. Check for a while.
Bellefontaine City Council is now in session. Please rise for the invocation led by Councilwoman Baker, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Almighty God, we give you thanks for you are the creator of all life and goodness. We praise you for the world that you've made for us to build up and enjoy. We thank you for our freedoms and the privilege we experience to live in a community like Bellefontaine. Loving God, help us to be faithful heralds of goodwill and fairness. Grant us awareness of the needs of the citizens we represent and the wisdom and compassion to respond willingly to those needs. Protect our first responders as they go about the business of protecting the citizens of Bellefontaine with strength and integrity. Protect our military who have pledged their loyalty to our country and keep them from harm's way. We ask this through Christ, our Savior, source of all hope. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Davis.
Here.
Mrs. Fitzpatrick. Here. Mrs. James. Here. Mr. Reeser.
Here.
Mr. Springs.
Here.
Mr. Ayler.
Here.
Mrs. Baker.
Here.
Mr. Springs.
Make a motion that we suspend the reading of the minutes.
Seconded by Mr. Ayler.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Mrs. James.
Yes.
Mr. Reeser.
Yes.
Mr. Springs.
Yes.
Mr. Ayler.
Yes.
Mrs. Baker.
Yes.
Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, we'll move to administrative reports. Mayor's office, Mayor Chrisman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, council. Good evening, guests. Been busy in the office for the last couple of weeks, but the big thing on that was yesterday. I got to be in the Memorial Day parade and just to go through the service up at the cemetery, just to reiterate the debt of gratitude we owe to many men and women who gave their lives for our country. And I just want to bring that back. Each year we celebrate as a kickoff to summer, but many people never had a summer after that. We just owe so much to those men and women. And I just want to reemphasize that. And that ends my report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any comments or questions from the mayor? Seeing none, we'll move to Service Safety Director, Mr. Dodds.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, council. Good evening, guests. A few items for you this evening. I want to start as well with yesterday, but a little different reason. So some of you may know the fire department in particular had an exceptionally busy day yesterday. They got called away from the Memorial Day parade for a fire up on Oakwood that was unfortunately a pretty good working house fire. And we actually had one of our firefighters and a firefighter from a mutual aid agency in Zanesfield that were hurt during that fire. Thankfully, they've both been released from the hospital, so I'm happy to be able to report that. But it just kind of gives me a stark reminder of what those men and women down there do and are willing to do every day to protect the community. They just never know what they're running into, and I'm just super thankful that it wasn't worse than it was. They didn't do anything wrong. They were following their protocols. It's just an inherently dangerous job, and just want to say thanks to them and the fire department, also the police department for their support. As soon as they finished that fire up, they got called to another fire on Blair Avenue. So despite, I'm sure they were exhausted from that first fire, but they're back out doing the second fire on Blair Avenue. And while that fire was, we called mutual aid from Huntsville for that fire, and then they had a car fire on Garfield at the same time. So ended up having the mutual aid fire department put that fire out before they were able to come help at Blair Avenue. So I think they had 11 plus runs yesterday, in addition to those two structure fires in one day. It's a taxing day for anybody. I mean, they may go weeks without a structure fire, and then they have two in one day. So just if you see those folks, especially the fire department from yesterday, but the police department also, just say thanks. They do an outstanding job for us and with really minimal staffing sometimes and a really taxing job. And, also on my mind, you may have seen in the news, there was a Morrow County Sheriff's deputy that was killed in the line of duty yesterday, responding to a domestic violence call. That's only a couple counties away from us. So again, just kind of a stark reminder of the dangers that our public safety folks face each and every day and just how thankful we need to be for them. So just wanted to make you aware of that. And again, super thankful that both those firefighters are back home and doing well. So we won't have any missed time. But again, could be a scary thing. So you never like to get that call that says, hey, we've got somebody in the hospital. But glad it didn't turn out worse than it did. So moving on, I've got a request for, had a resident come in to speak about a couple two-way streets that are pretty narrow and have some parking issues. That's Maple Avenue, which is beside Wendy's, just on the north side of Wendy's, and then Cornell Avenue, which is on the south side of Tim Hortons. Mr. Barry Clayton, I know he's here today as well. I think he's probably going to address council. But after looking at that, the administration feels like they probably warrant some discussion about making those streets one way. So I would just ask that we refer that to committee, Mr. President, so we can have a meeting to discuss that.
Thank you. Wes, John, that's your committee.
Yes,
We'll
he's
leave that
already
to you.
talked to me.
Okay, very good.
And then finally, just a reminder that the big event for downtown Bellefontaine is coming up the first Saturday here in June, June 7th, Pineapple Palooza. So that'll be most of the day. It'll have some widespread street closures, but come downtown for a lot of fun. And I'm sure Ms. Stoller will probably give us an update when she gives her report. So with that, I'll end my report, but I'd be happy to entertain any questions for you.
Thank you, Mr. Dodds. Any comments or questions from Mr. Dodds? Seeing none, we'll move to Law Director, Mr. Stoller.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
Thank you,
Glad
Mr.
to take questions.
Thank you, Mr. Stoller. Any questions or comments from Mr. Stoller? Seeing none, we'll move to Auditor, Mr. Brentlinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Brentlinger. Any comments or questions from Mr. Brentlinger? Seeing none, we'll move to Police Chief, Chief Marlowe.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, council. Good evening, guests. Just a couple things that we've already spoke about before, but just bringing you an update. The one candidate that we have in process has been successful through the polygraph and now his psychological, so he'll move on to the pension board's physical. They'll have to have that medical physical prior to being able to be sworn in. That has yet to be scheduled, but they're usually pretty quick, so we should be finishing that up. And then just a reminder, our annual Downtown Business Appreciation Cookout is June 3rd. Story kicks off our outreach events for the season, now that warmer weather's here. But school's wrapping up too, so, urge caution from everybody as school wraps up here pretty quick. And then we're moving straight into Safety Town and Deer Camp and some of those other events that we do too. So that ends my report, and I'd be happy to take questions.
Thank you, Chief. Any comments or questions from the Chief? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Fire Department, Chief Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, council, guests. Well, City Director Dodds pretty much stole my thunder, but I just was going to touch up a little bit on that, but he covered every detail. So I again just want to thank everyone who has reached out to us, checking on the guys. Like Wes said, they're back to work, so everything is good there. And then I'd also like to thank, if I understand correctly, Chief Marlowe, I think it was Jared Willoughby, Officer Willoughby, who was actually first on scene that used an extinguisher to knock down part of that fire on Oakwood. I have not seen the body camera footage yet, but I hear that once he did put the visible flames out, you could still hear it popping and cracking inside the walls. So pretty good that he was there. I'm sure it was the highlight of his day, getting to play firefighter for a while. So certainly thankful for him. I'd also like to update on firefighter, well, not firefighters yet, but Logan Searcy and Jonathan Downing. So they are in week 2 of their 8-week class at the Fire Academy. Word is that they are doing well. I sent them a couple texts. I have not heard from them, but their instructors did say that all is going good there so far. No updates yet on our station alert system. We're told that hardware would be showing up in a few weeks, and that's been a few weeks ago. So we know how that goes. So we're still waiting for some updates on that. And then we do have some interviews scheduled for June 9th. We have 8 candidates that we'll be interviewing on that day. And then we have 2 and potentially 4 more that would be interviewing on June the 10th. So hopefully we will be able to get our eligibility list established for the next round of hires, should that take place. I believe that is all I have.
Thank you, Chief. Any comments or questions for the chief? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Downtown Director, Ms. Stotler.
Good evening, President. Good evening, all. Thank you for letting me come chat with you. So this is our biggest event coming up in next week. So we did move it to Saturday, June 7th, Pineapple Palooza. This is definitely our biggest event. A, people coming in. B, our biggest street closures. We definitely try to keep that as minimal as possible because we understand that it is definitely taxing on traffic and on people in the area. So this one will be closing Main Street fully from about Watson Way. We'll keep Watson Way open so it's a little easier to get around to the end where our stage will be. Then we'll have West and East Columbus closed. East Columbus will be closed to Mad River, I was right. Mad River, and then we will have West Chillicothe closed. So, and within that, obviously Court Avenue and things like that. So we are taking precautions on that, and we'll be closing streets about noon. That gives us about 2 hours to get everything ready to go. So we're definitely trying to be very considerate, of the baits and people that are going to be traveling through. So definitely a lot with that. I do invite if anyone is coming out that day or has extra time and wants to volunteer. We're definitely looking for some literally volunteers to also even do the dunk tank. So just gonna put that out there. But definitely I'm really excited. This is the biggest event, so I'm looking forward to it and I'd love to hear any questions or comments you guys have.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for Ms. Stotler? Thank you for the report. Now that will conclude our administration reports. We'll now move to reports from standing committees. Finance Committee, Mr. Springs.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have 2 ordinances for first reading tonight. The first one is 2532. We'll be asking for first reading only. And it is making the appropriations of around $200,000 for the Oakland Square Park project. And then our second one is 2533, and we'll be asking to waive the 3 reading rule. And this is preparing to get an aggregate again for our natural gas and our electricity, if one can be found. And then we have a resolution, 2534, which we will be asking to withdraw from our agreement with RETA. And then for second reading, 2528 will be our ordinance for compensation for the court prosecutors. And that concludes my report as we have nothing for third reading.
Thank you, Mr. Springs. Rules Committee, Mrs. James.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have ordinance 2531 for second reading only. This is the one annexing the Duff property as R1 only. And then we have for adoption 2526, and that is the one that we've read several times regarding principal use solar. And that is my report.
Thank you, Mr. James. Safety Committee, Mr. Reeser.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Reeser. Utilities Committee, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have 2 ordinances on the agenda for adoption this evening. 2524 on sewer capacity fees and 2525 on water capacity fees. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Streets Committee, Mr. Ayler.
Yes, Mr. Dodds talked about this evening. We'll get a meeting together regarding the 2 streets within the next couple of weeks.
Thank you, Mr. Ayler. Sidewalk, Curbs, and Parks Committee, Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzpatrick. And then Audit Committee, Mrs. Baker.
No report, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Baker. That concludes the reports of standing committees. We now move to the portion of our meeting where we welcome communications from citizens. If there are any citizens in the audience who seek to address council, please approach the lectern, state your name and address, after which the chair will recognize you to speak for up to 5 minutes.
My name's Barry Clayton. I'm at 121 Maple, which is what we were talking about, the one way. It's getting bad enough there that we can't get cars to go past because we are parking on the sidewalks. The officers know it because it's not safe for our vehicles just to be off the sidewalks. They're not citing us because it's for the safety of our personal property. It's bad enough now that you have the behavioral center, which is right across the street from me, that people are meeting and that they are driving through their parking lot to go around. Now, if you come from Detroit, we're not affected. I've talked to Rex, the manager at Advance, and I've talked to all my neighbors. And it seems like I'm just the guy that's going to bring it up. Only thing Rex is for, she hates the way the street is right now, but they have one truck that comes in on Friday afternoon that does have to exit back out onto Main Street. That's the only con that we've got out of this. If you drive down on Maple and you go to Detroit, somebody wants to come in there, there's not enough room for two vehicles to turn around. You're driving on the curb, you're driving on the sidewalk, or somebody's got to back up or go out. If you're heading towards Main to the north, if you look to your left, there's a huge sycamore tree out there. Everybody knows it. You can't see around the darn thing. I've talked to multiple of your police officers. They all agree that should be one way. I've talked to your water people that were out there working. They all agree that it should have been one way. And I've also talked to your road crew people back there that's been back there. Hey, they all agree. I have an 8x16 enclosed trailer because we do some side-by-side riding. That's what my wife and I do for fun. It's parked there right now because I'm doing a little bit of work on it. But when you get the grass trimmers, the mower people that come in, and they park on the opposite side, there's enough room for one person to walk between the two trailers. So everybody's going around through the parking lot, and I'm sure the behavioral center doesn't like seeing their driveway used as their parking used as a driveway. But my concern is, for me, I've been there for 5 years, and there's been so many close calls trying to get out on Main because you can't see from that big sycamore tree, and obviously nobody's gonna cut that thing down. It's not safe. I've talked to the mayor about it. He's been out there, he's seen it, he knows what it's like. And I'm sure most of you have been down that street before more than once. And it is not safe right now, the way this is. We're talking personal damage, and then we're talking possibly people getting hurt. There's been enough accidents in that intersection there that safety has to go protocol for this. I was a firefighter for years, protocol for safety. You know, if it inconveniences some people, too bad. Whose lives are you going to save? This needs to be a one-way street. And that's the main reason is safety reason. And there's all the things that I can list you there are all pros. The only issue is that Friday, that Advance gets in, they get their 53-foot trailer, they get their parts in, and they have to go back out on Main Street. But I think the town should be able to work with that, being it's just a one-way. But if you get the signs posted up and do that, then we're looking at saving possibly children's lives and my personal vehicle and the other neighbors' personal vehicles and our personal properties. And I just think I'm asking that you all take a look at this and you understand our frustration that we live on that street and that you guys are willing to work with us and make this a safer area for us. And so if you guys end up having a get together, please get with me and I will come down. And I ask every one of you to come from Detroit on the Maple, then go to the stop sign there between Advance and Wendy's and look to your left and see how far you have to go out before you see the vehicles coming. I'd like every one of you to go see it, go do it. Then you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. Safety's key here. And people are gonna get hurt. That's for my part, but my other part is my personal property. I don't need mirror ripped off. I don't need my car damaged. Then people down there drive stupid. And, so I'll say my piece, but if you guys have a get together and you want to talk about it again, please, I'm speaking on behalf of the whole Maple Street. They're all in agreement with me. Like I said, even Rex from down there agrees, but she's just worried about getting her truck back out after they get their parts delivered. But I think this all can be worked around. So that's my business. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Place. There are members of the audience who seek to address council. Sir?
My name's Don Mitchell. I live at 1432 Township Road 218. In the vicinity of the Duff property wants to be annexed into the city. My concern is it's not the annexation, it's the idea that I did a solar farm. When they core drilled the Duff property, they also core drilled the first property on 218. If you go off of 56, the first one on the left. There, I'm sure they have big plans for it. Annexation is not bad, but it's a solar farm what we need in our community. This is just circumventing what the county's wishes was at the lake. They're trying to find a way to sidestep it. I don't think it's time for big business to come in and control our community. Council, I respect what you did in the dispensary. You got my vote for that, even though I live outside of town. I'm tired of smelling it when I go in the parking lots. One thing I think you need to consider here, though, that Duff properties are in sand and gravel. If anything should happen out there, and those are, I've been told that does contaminate. If the hailstorm comes through, ruptures that open, and contaminants are going down in that sand and gravel, where are they going to go? Your west well field is approximately 2 miles from that location. This city, most of you people don't remember. I remember when the water main broke down at the end of Plum Valley, down there at the end of not spring, but down in there, the swamp and always without water in the city for 3 days. I don't think you can take a chance of contaminating your sole source of water. The biggest share of your water comes from the west well field. I don't know how many council people know where that is. It's next to HBD. The Duff family was real nice when they bought that property out there. The child's landfill needs closed up. They donated material on it to go over there and close that properly so we don't have a leak there. I'm just asking that solar has no business in our city. If you watch the news or anything, a few weeks ago, it might have been a month now, down at Centerville, they put in a big solar farm right there in a residential neighborhood. The people's complaining about a diesel engine running. I watched the thing on TV, nobody addressed it, no, but what it is that solar company contract for so much electricity. When that didn't keep up, they run a diesel generator to supplement it so they can fulfill their obligation. So you can try to defeat the purpose of the solar. I see now the president proposed 50% of all the power plants built now are going to be naturally gas operated. Our big government there in Washington, D.C. decided that we need to deal with our coal burning power plants. That wasn't a bad idea, but they had no forethought in to provide electricity after they did that. Now we're down to doing these fun and games and all. Solar's not the answer. When the good Lord don't turn the sun on, it don't produce much electricity. When the wind don't blow, the wind farms don't produce much electricity. There's got to be a better option. And I think personally, I heard Mr. Duff say that's an eyesore out there now. Personally, I don't think it's an eyesore compared to what a solar farm would look like out there. Do you have any questions? Thank you for your time. And again, thank you for what you did in the dispensary.
Any Any other members of the audience seek to address council? Seeing none, that will conclude the communications from citizens portion of our meeting. We'll now move to our legislative agenda for ordinances and resolutions for first reading.
An ordinance making supplemental appropriations and amending the permanent appropriations ordinance for purposes of parks and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Springs,
Motion to pass on first reading only?
seconded by Mrs. Baker.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Mrs. James.
Yes.
Mr. Reeser.
Yes.
Mr. Springs.
Yes.
Mr. Ayler.
Yes.
Mrs. Baker.
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing the Service Safety Director to grant power of attorney to Prior Power Management LLC for electric aggregation services and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Springs,
Motion to waive the 3 reading rule?
seconded by Mr. Reeser.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Mrs. James.
Yes.
Mr. Reeser.
Yes.
Mr. Springs.
Yes.
Mr. Ayler.
Yes.
Mrs. Baker.
Yes.
Mr. Springs,
Motion to pass on second and final, or first and final?
seconded by Mr. Reeser.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Mrs. James.
Yes.
Mr. Reeser.
Yes.
Mr. Springs.
Yes.
Mr. Ayler.
Yes.
Mrs. Baker.
Yes.
Mr. Springs,
Motion to adopt?
seconded by Mr. Reeser.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Mrs. James.
Yes.
Mr. Reeser.
Yes.
Mr. Springs.
Yes.
Mr. Ayler.
Yes.
Mrs. Baker.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing the Service Safety Director and/or Tax Commissioner to withdraw from that certain agreement for participation in a regional council of governments.
Mr. Springs,
Motion to adopt?
seconded by Mrs. Baker.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Mrs. James.
Yes.
Mr. Reeser.
Yes.
Mr. Springs.
Yes.
Mr. Ayler.
Yes.
Mrs. Baker.
Yes.
That concludes our ordinances and resolutions for first reading. We'll now move to ordinances for second reading.
An ordinance establishing and providing for compensation for municipal court prosecutor coverage and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Springs,
Motion to pass on second reading only?
seconded by Mrs. Baker.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Mrs. James.
Yes.
Mr. Reeser.
Yes.
Mr. Springs.
Yes.
Mr. Ayler.
Yes.
Mrs. Baker.
Yes.
An ordinance accepting application for annexation of certain territory, real estate, to the city of Bellefontaine, Ohio, containing 200.827 acres owned by Dock Quarry Incorporated, located in Lake Township, adjacent to the city of Bellefontaine, Ohio, establishing zoning classification therefore and amending the zoning map.
Mrs. James,
Motion to pass on second reading only?
seconded by Mr. Davis.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Mrs. James.
Yes.
Mr. Reeser.
Yes.
Mr. Springs.
No.
Mr. Ayler.
No.
Mrs. Baker.
Yes.
That concludes our ordinances for second reading. We'll now move to ordinances for adoption, third reading.
An ordinance amending certain provision of Chapter 925 sewers of the codified ordinances of the city of Bellefontaine, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Davis,
Motion to adopt?
seconded by Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Mrs. James.
Yes.
Mr. Reeser.
Yes.
Mr. Springs.
Yes.
Mr. Ayler.
Yes.
Mrs. Baker.
Yes.
An ordinance amending certain provision of Chapter 923 water of the codified ordinances of the city of Bellefontaine, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Davis,
Motion to adopt?
seconded by Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Mrs. James.
Yes.
Mr. Reeser.
Yes.
Mr. Springs.
Yes.
Mr. Ayler.
Yes.
Mrs. Baker.
Yes.
An ordinance approving and adopting planning and zoning regulations regarding solar energy systems for the city of Bellefontaine to be codified as Chapter 1166 of the codified ordinances of said city.
Mrs. James,
Motion to adopt?
seconded by Mr. Davis.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Mrs. James.
No.
Mr. Reeser.
Yes.
Mr. Springs.
No.
Mr. Ayler.
No.
Mrs. Baker.
Yes.
That concludes our ordinances for third reading and our legislative agenda this evening. Are there any communications from the clerk?
Not this evening, thank you.
Any communications from members of council? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion and a second to adjourn. Motion by Mrs. Fitzpatrick, seconded by Mr. Ayler.
Fitzpatrick. Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
Oh, yeah.
How's that going?
Now it's just about the sidewalk. Do you have a grant on, do you have a grant to finish it or finish it?
We have $192,000 to connect those two pieces for us.
Okay.
It's just.
Well, what are we gonna do to where that very steep drop?
Thanks.
Are they gonna fill it up or are they gonna?
So where it goes down.
Oh, okay. Are we gonna backfill all the ground?
So I talked, Chris and I talked, let's set that up. Straight curve down. Went back and forth. Right now. Just put in back. It's designed to where even if they backfill just to the level, all we have to do is dig out the set up for like a 6 inch. So once we figure it out, when you look at that, for some reason, it's not super recommended. So we're trying to figure out how we're gonna light that. I think, if I remember right, the south side, part of it has to be west curve, straight curve on the other.
Then here's my last, well, I got two more questions. So one is, are we gonna let Rockhound bring in topsoil on like the right side of the sidewalk, like the yard part of it where it's all rocky and grassy? From the corner down to like the cemetery driveway, not the cemetery driveway, but like the driveway back in the woods. Yeah.
So that's that's what I'm talking about there. They do that and then he said, they have back to spoil. I don't know. We gotta watch the drainage a little bit.
What